Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to express strong support and to echo the comments of the previous speaker before Senator Landrieu, Senator Casey. Strong support for the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010. Chairwoman Lincoln has led the reauthorization efforts, chairing hearings of the Agriculture Committee in which I sit and speaking eloquently in this chamber about what's at stake in the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act. Less than 10% of Ohio's eligible school children receive summer nutrition assistance, as I said. In rural Appalachia, across the river from the presiding officer's state, the numbers are bleaker as meal locations are fewer and farther between. The numbers aren't good enough in Cleveland. They're not good enough in Youngstown. They're even worse in Malta, in McConnellsville, in Pomeroy, in Piketon, and communities that, and especially in the even more rural areas like Colton and Jackson County and Coolville and Athens County, in those small remote areas where meal locations are even harder to reach. By strengthening these summer programs, we'd ensure more children have a nutritious breakfast and a lunch and a snack during the summer months. It's a key ingredient in keeping healthy children healthy, educated, and active. Steve Garland of the E.L. Hardy Center, a summer feeding site outside of Columbus, tells the story of a single father with 3 sons who relies on the center for meals and mentoring. The father says that without the center, his young sons are at risk of falling behind in school and getting in trouble in the community. I mean, that's not just keeping children fed. It also matters for their schoolwork. It matters for their keeping out of trouble. It matters for their intellectual development. 50 children per day in past summers would show up for a healthy meal and recreational activities at the Hardy Center. This summer, because of enthusiastic and dedicated Vista volunteers, attendance at the Hardy Center has ballooned to 300 children per day. Now, get that, Mr. President, that typically only about 1 out of 10 eligible children across the country, Ohio is actually slightly above the national average, only about 1 out of 10 children across the country who are eligible for free breakfast and free lunch and are getting it during the school year, only 1 out of 10 get these breakfast, lunch, or snacks in the summer, 1 out of 10. That's why what we did when Senator Dorgan and Senator Kaufman, all of us worked together in expanding national service, Vista and Peace Corps and City Year, which 2 of my daughters have been part of as volunteers, AmeriCorps, all those programs, more of those kids, more of those volunteers are now helping these summer feeding programs. So instead of feeding 50 people at the Hardy Center, thanks to the Vista volunteers, 300 children, all those 300 were eligible last summer. They just weren't there because they didn't know about it. They couldn't get there, whatever. Now, because of these Vista volunteers, 300 children are getting fed almost every day this summer. Steve said, though, that's the good news. The bad news is Steve Garland of the Hardy Center says there are still some 5,000 children in surrounding communities who don't have a site in their area. 5,000. That's just Columbus. That's not the whole state. That's not the whole country. That's 5,000 children in Columbus that aren't getting fed, that are eligible, that won't do as well in this life probably because they're not getting adequate nutrition as children. When the president signs this bill into law, we'll help countless other community leaders like Steve provide more meals and activities to keep our children active and healthy. Reauthorization dramatically reshapes and updates nutrition standards to help us reduce childhood obesity rates and put healthier food in school cafeterias.